This buying secret literally changed everything. I'm going to show you a trade here on Litecoin using the monthly service levels. You can see all these green little arrows, they're buys. When we borsog, which means we buy on red and sell on green, I've done something very different this month. I'm selling at the target for the monthly service. A lot of people say, Ken, how do you buy on red, especially as price is going up? How does that work? You simply refill your structural levels. And that's what I've been doing with Litecoin. Now, what is the outcome of this trade? If we look at these little green arrows, they're basically $100 structural levels. I did leverage up in some points. When I mean leverage up, I mean left the $100 level and made it more, scaled up. But I do not use leverage. When you understand this secret of how to buy effectively, it will change your financial future. Let's run the numbers. Each month, inside the CTKS method service, I mark up the structural levels on all of the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 charts. Professionals need to know, how is the engine of financial markets going? How are the Forex pairs trading? How are the yields changing? What's happening with commodities and, of course, the stock market as well as crypto? When you get this understanding, you'll look at the markets in a completely different way. I just showed you the buy levels on Litecoin. I made $2,315 US profit from those trades. And that was all under approximately 10 days. What I've just shown you here, these green little checks mean that the three-dimensional risk management, or the upper buy paths on Litecoin, BNB, and XRP have all been hit, and I was selling at that upper boundary price. Therefore, on Litecoin, I made a 21% return. On BNB, it was around a little over 27%, and XRP nearly 24%. But the interesting thing is, as you saw, XRP was coming down during the month. You saw a lot of negative price momentum on Litecoin. In truth, XRP was coming down as well, and it put in a heck of a candle. And this is what we see inside crypto all the time. Now, looking at BNB, you can see a very different profit. The profit on XRP was about $900. The profit on Litecoin, about $2,300. But the profit on BNB was around that $200 mark. Now, why was that? This was very interesting. BNB did a bit of a spike down, but it just went up and hit its target with minimal retracements. That meant that I couldn't literally get in and buy on the red because it didn't retrace. Sometimes, if you get into a weak crypto such as Litecoin, you can do much better from an absolute perspective. You can see the difference in profit, $200 versus $2,300. Just across these three different cryptos, just using the structural level inside the service from ctksmethod.org, I've so far this month, within the first 10 days, made over $3,400 USD in profit. Unfortunately, a lot of people get caught up in chasing out of the way coins, like meme coins. They can be fun, but they can also be dangerous. During this same period of time, I was in the memes, making percentage returns. In the gaming sector, in the AI sector, making returns. And the one thing that you just need to be aware of, the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 charts will give you an insight as to how the entire crypto market is moving. These are some of the other trades that I've been doing this month, some on Cortex, some on Floki, and the percent returns are not too bad. But what we're actually looking at when we look at Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 charts is seeking to understand how the crypto market is moving. In this month, Doge did a very big spike up to its price target and hit it early on. But unfortunately, I was not layering in to Doge at that time. You must also be aware that sometimes you'll miss opportunities, but the opportunity is what comes next. Doge as a major meme coin was showing that the other memes could take off, and that's what some of those other trades were about. This is another buy secret that you can use. When you understand what you're looking at and understand how Doge drives the other memes, you can use that to your advantage when it comes to buying and selling. As TF Theta said, there is no simpler and more accurate way than the CTKS method analysis. The crypto market this month has been very strong. It's been very resilient, and when we look at Litecoin, you'll notice that price came down below the normalized negative price path, but then recovered up to the target percent return for this month, which is where I sold. All the way down, I was accumulating Litecoin at structural levels. This kind of accumulation is very powerful because when you're buying at structural levels, if the positive price path is maintained or achieved, the positive price path target, it can be incredibly powerful from a profit perspective. A lot of people would have been shaken out during this reversal. After all, we saw Litecoin fall from nearly $100 down to about $70. So if you think about that, that's a really big retracement for people inside the stock market. But for us inside crypto, yeah, it's pretty normal. It's a Monday. But if you can get onto the right side of that percentage, knowing where the structural levels are and how price is very exponential inside the crypto market, you can do incredibly well. A lot of you will have the question, Ken, what are you doing now with Litecoin? It's exactly what I did. When Litecoin came down and then it went up, I started to refill the structural levels of those areas that had been bought. I'm refilling the structural levels now as well. This is the best way to borsog. And what is borsog? It's buy on red, sell on green. As Port Power said in yesterday's video, any new visitors wanting to take charge of your financial future, I cannot encourage you enough to take the time and learn the CTKS method. It is truly life-changing if you are prepared to put in the time and the effort. Thank you, my friend, for your very kind comment. The monthly service marks up all of the Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 charts with the CTKS method. Then it pops it in an indicator that we can use to analyze all of price history. Here we're looking at Tesla, and you've noticed that Tesla's price has come down and bottomed out. Why would this be the case? If you know the CTKS method, you already know the answer to that question. Let's pop on the indicator to see what's cooking in Tesla's price structure. We can see that Tesla has been somewhat weak. It cut through all of this structural support between 189 and 194. But where did it fall down to? It fell down to structural support around that 174 area. We can see this 182 has been strong structural resistance. What does this mean? The 182 has been rejecting it again and again and again, but it's starting to pick up some degree of power. Now, what does this tell us? If Tesla can get above 182, it's heading back to 190. But if it cannot get above 182, it's heading back to 174. Just like I showed you with Litecoin, don't be concerned at all about negative price momentum, and don't be concerned about trying to buy the bottom. Just participate in price action. The chart that we need to pay the most attention to is Bitcoin at the current time. So let's have a look at that. Bitcoin's price action is incredibly important to understand. When you understand what Bitcoin is doing and where structural support is and where structural resistance levels are, it's an absolute game changer. Yesterday, we were coming in to structural support at that 66,900 mark, but we didn't make it down there. If we're not going below, where are we going? We're going above, and that's precisely where we went. There's currently structural resistance at that 71,795 mark. The bulls will be looking for us to get above this 73,400 mark, and the bears seeking to get below 71,600 and to drive it back to 66,900. Let me know in the comments, where do you think Bitcoin's price is going to next? Do you have a bearish or a bullish bias? The secret of printing money is to know where the structural levels are. For example, as price was just rallying up and up and up like this, we knew that the 71,795 mark was an area of structural resistance. It's not entirely being turned into structural support right now, but it's getting close. But we need a move above 72,800 to confirm that. But the idea, if you want to print money, you must know where the structural resistance levels are, because as price encounters it, doesn't matter if it spikes up really harshly, it will start to flatten out. Another secret to printing money is to not sell too quickly, to sell at targets. And you can make the target whatever you wish. You can sell at a target which is, say, 10% up or 15% up, or as the monthly service target. It's literally whatever target you think is best for you. The real secret to printing money is to not have a bullish bias, to not have a bearish bias, but to have a structural bias. If you have a structural bias, you're in the Smart Money League. The CTKS community is all about knowledge transfer. As Rundle Ridge says, I highly recommend learning how to draw up the charts with the Level 1 and Level 2 standard certification. This will give you an incredible edge and a positive portfolio. As everybody says who knows the method, it does take time and patience, but it pays off. A big thank you to Rundle Ridge. The secret of printing money is to first understand the Tier 1 chart structural levels, then the Tier 2 structural levels, and then the Tier 3 chart structural levels. Also, understanding the interdependencies and cross-correlations that exist between a variety of different charts is also important. Mastering fear, Rule 723, is also vitally important. If we can't master fear, we can't buy on red. Also, understanding Rule 4, the price is always moving in waves. It's always going up and down. It does take time and skill to override basic fear-based instincts. But you don't want to be like retail. Retail just runs in when the price comes up and they run away when the price comes down. Fighting fear is more easily said than done in many circumstances. That's why we have the CTKS Creed. The CTKS Creed are daily positive affirmations for abundance, financial success, and happiness. We understand that better habits create a better life, and there's no better habit than this: being dedicated and committed. You either win or learn, and never blame. Always focus on your learning and always solve your problems with positive excellence. Always understanding the fact that the universe wants you to succeed. Looking back at the Litecoin trade, the only way that I could make that $2,300 profit was to make sure that I was buying as Litecoin was coming down. This means that you must master fear. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.